pathway to becoming a researcher is often through getting funding from NIH, in particular in health research or medical research. There are other pathways. There are private foundations. There's pharmaceutical money available to help with developing research. And certainly most people who have successful research careers have taken advantage of opportunities in different areas, particularly in times where, say, NIH funding is lower. That may be an opportunity to look at pharmaceutical funding for research. There are some ethical considerations in there, of course. Starting a research career especially as a physician, is tough because you don't have the same training as a PhD does in terms of research methodology. And their whole career trajectory as a PhD is really to get research funding. And as a physician, your training is to treat patients. So like me, for example, I did a research fellowship, which offers a couple of years of training, in statistics and clinical trial methodology, but it is a short time period, compared to what a PhD has their education toward a research career. So the pathway to being an independent researcher is often to get what's called a K award, or Career Development Award, from NIH, which gives you 5 years of research funding to both have a research project that you're interested in, and alongside that, develop your research skills. So doing more training, taking more classes, being mentored by senior researchers in the areas that are relevant to your research project. So that's the process that I'm in now, is applying for that funding. It is obviously very competitive to get that funding, because they're essentially paying for you to be paying for 5 years of education, really, and your salary, right, in that time period. And then after that, the idea is that a physician or other researcher would apply for a large research grant. So an R01 is kind of the best example of that, which is a many-year clinical trial, for example, that's millions of dollars. So that's kind of the ideal pathway, is to get a K award, get more education and mentorship and training, and then at that point you would be what we call like an independent researcher, and be able to apply for and obtain research funding from NIH or some of those other areas I mentioned. There are other ways, there people sort of piece together, part-time research, part-time clinical, which is a little bit what I'm doing now, a little bit of funding from other studies to sort of help me continue in research and be able to run some small pilot studies, and then kind of part-time clinical work to pay the rent.